catch 'em all.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my next video in the Autocad architecture series. In this video here, I want to demonstrate how I would go about designing a kitchen. Okay, so the first thing to know about designing a kitchen is called the work triangle theory, and I just want to show you exactly what that is. The work triangle theory basically states that between your refrigerator, your stove, and your sink, they make a triangle, okay? And that triangle, each leg of the triangle has to be between 4 feet and 9 feet, and that the overall added up of all three sides can't be more than 26, and it can't be less than 13 feet. Okay, so that's just a rule of thumb for design of kitchens, because if you really think about it, you don't want to be traveling too far to get from piece to piece in your kitchen. So they have that theory that most people will follow when they're designing their kitchens. Okay, so we already have that set up here. I'll show you one that I already drew. This leg here from the stove to the refrigerator comes up as, I think, 8 feet something, 8 feet 6. Between the sink and the stove comes up to 4 feet 6. Actually, wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm sorry. The length is 8 feet 8. Length of this one is 5 feet 2 3/4. And we're going to fall length 4 feet. We're going to fall right in the middle of those numbers. So we're right in the middle of 13 and 26. Okay, so let me get these lines out of here. When I'm designing, the first thing you want to do is you want to use the wall tool. Okay, so we don't have the whole floor plan here, but I'm going to map out just the kitchen area. As far as the wall tool goes, what I would do on my own document here is that I would click on one of my walls and I would hit add selected, because I know that I already like the width and thickness and all that of my wall and my height of my wall. Okay, but for you guys, you would probably just want to go to the wall tool. You'll get this little properties menu that pops up. I would change this to be like a 3.5 inch width, 8 foot tall wall, and then you basically start drawing after that. Okay, so for me, I'm just going to use my add selected because I already have my wall, and it'll basically just copy one that I've already done. Important to look out for the justification of the lines. So let's go over something real quick. If I went 10 feet, which is 10 apostrophe, hang on, let me start that again. I got to change something. Oh, Christ. All right, we're still recording. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so here we go. On my wall, add selected. If I went 10 feet by 10 feet, I have to watch the justification of the lines, because right now my justification is closing this corner if I work in a clockwise manner, okay, based on my justification. If I hit the shift key, it's going to switch the justification to be on the outside, and that would not be what I want, because that would make that 10 feet 3.5 inches, okay. So that would be too big. All right, so we want our justification to have a tight corner like this. That's going to be 10 feet this way. Again, you can see it's a tight corner. The corner is overlapping 10 feet, and I'm talking about the exterior measurements. Now, if you knew the interior measurements, then it would be, whoops, let's do that again, add selected. If you were doing the inside measurements, you would want your justification to be like this, because if I knew that it was 20 feet and then I knew that it was, 16 feet, it's going to add and make this 20 feet 3.5 on the outside, but I was saying that on the inside it's 20 feet, so that would be correct. Okay, so it basically matters which direction you draw, if it's clockwise or counterclockwise, and it matters where you have that baseline at with regards to the justification. Okay, so here we go. We're going to draw, this is 22 feet exterior by 16 feet exterior. So I'm going to do my add selected. I'm going to go 20 feet. Actually, it was 22. Sorry. 22 feet. I'm going to go down. I got to change my justification there, so I'm going to bring that in by hitting shift, only because I changed it before. I'm going to go 16 feet down. Whoops. Make sure you stay on the green line like I did not do. 16 feet down, 22 feet over, and then C, enter for close. Okay, so you can double check that if you want to dimension it. It would come out as 22 feet by 16. Okay, the next thing I would do is I'd figure out where any windows are on that wall. Okay, on the exterior wall. We're gonna say this is the exterior. I know that looking at mine, that from the outside corner to the middle of my window is 6 feet 10. So what I would do is I would take a regular line tool, I would draw up and over 6 feet 10. So that's 6 apostrophe 10. and then I would come back down, and then I can get rid of these two lines. I draw up and over like that because it's easier to erase those lines rather than just drawing a line right here 6 feet 10, because you don't know where that line is, and later on you're going to forget to erase it, probably all the time. Okay, so that's the middle of my window. So what I'm going to do here is I have a window already drawn. I could do an add selected on that as well, and I could bring that window over. Or for you guys, what you would do is you would go to the window tool. You would decide what kind of window you want, which would be right, let's see, color, layer, line type, plot style. Do I have two things selected? That's possible. There we go. I had something else selected. So yeah, we're just going to go with a standard window here, and I'm going to make mine 2 feet by 5 feet. And then you'll see that it's going to say down at the bottom, select your wall or grid assembly. So I want it to be on this wall, and then you'll see that I can move it on that wall wherever I want. Okay, so for me, I already did an add selected one. I'm going to move that window from the midpoint over to my line because I just kind of slapped it down before, and then I'm going to erase my line. Okay, now we're going to start getting into cabinets. Okay, you know right off the bat, you know, you're thinking about the shape of your kitchen here. So if you want it to be an L shape or if you wanted it to be a U shape, you got to figure out where your corner cabinets are going to be. So I have a corner cabinet drawn right here, which is basically, you know, you have your bottom cabinets, which are 24 inches depth, and then you have your top cabinets, which are 12-inch depth. Okay, so my corner cabinet here is going to be 3 feet by 2 feet, and then 3 feet by 2 feet. And then they're going to move in 1 foot and 1 foot. Okay, so let's start with that first. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change my line colors here because I have different layers that I use. This is my wall above layer. This is my wall below layer, which is below the countertop. This is my countertop layer. I don't know why I called it A-floor casing. That's just for stairs, but I use that line for this. So what I'll do is I'll change it to be this one, which is my A wall below. So if you go to this one, which is called Make Objects Layer Current, you can click on one that you want. And for me, I already have my property set up where this line and this layer basically have, like, if let's see, we go into here, you'll see that my layer is set up where it already has the dotted line attached and it already has the color attached. So let's see if I can find that. It's called A wall below. So we got A wall below. You can see I have it on hidden 2 for the line type, and I have it on orange. Okay, so you could set that up if you want by creating a new one. You could click that right here. You could name it. You could set the line type that you want and the color that you want just by clicking on the color and just by clicking on the line type. Okay. All right, so I already have that set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do let's see, Make Object Current. I'm going to click on that line. It made it current, and now every line that I draw will be on that layer. Okay, so now when I start over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, and this is one of those situations where, you know, I don't love to draw right on top of lines because a lot of times you forget, but I'm going to go 36, I'm going to go 24, I'm going to go, by the way, mine's an L-shaped kitchen, as you already saw. I'm going to go 12 inches in, I'm going to go 12 inches down. If you don't have that green line, that's F8, turn that on, that's called polar, and then 24 inches back in. But you have to remember to erase that initial line. Okay, so these are basically the cabinet lines. Okay, after that, now you've got a bunch of different cabinet sizes that you have. So you have, you know, all the way down to 12 inches. You have 18 inches. You have 24s, 30s, 36s, 42s. You can almost get a cabinet size any size that you want. Okay, so in this situation, I decided that I wanted to put my stove next. Because I wanted it to be relatively close, whereas if I brought this stove over here, that triangle work theory would not work between these two, and that distance would be too long. Okay, so my stove is something that I'm just going to copy over, but all I really did was I created, using a different layer, something that I thought looked like a stove. So this is my symbol for a stove. I'll bring the text over too. So I get something like this. This is a 36-inch stove, so I went a little bigger than your standard stove. Your standard one is 29 or 30 inches. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll take that, I'll move, I could actually group this too if you drew your own, and I can show you how to draw this too real quick. All I did was I went down 34, I went over 24, 34, that's going to leave 1 inch on each side, which is nice. And then all I did was I did an offset of 2, I did a diagonal line down the middle where I did a slide up. I drew a line like this. I drew another line like this, and I drew a circle on that point. And I believe my circles were like a 5 radius. By the way, I don't need the diagonal anymore. And also, we could do a match properties and change it to this color. That color is, I think it stands for my, let's see, my floor appliances. Okay, so I have a different layer that's called floor appliances. Okay, so anyways, now that I have that circle, whoops, I'm going to go to trim, and I'm going to trim these lines. I'm going to get rid of the circle. Okay, so now this one I just moved. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just got to look like a stove. So let's say we go 7, and then we copy it the other way, 14, and then we move this one back 4, move that one forward 4, and then we're going to copy this one 8. We're going to make that smaller though, so that's going to be a smaller circle. Let's say 3. Just because some burners are smaller than other burners. That's all it is. Get rid of the circle. And then, oop, I trimmed one line by accident. Oh, Christ. Sorry. Let's try that again. This should be, we did a 5 radius, so 2.5? No. Here, let's draw our circle again. So they're very close to each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up another inch, and I'm going to drop that one back another inch. Okay, and then this one, if I want, I can mirror it, hopefully between there. No, I'm not going to mirror it. You know what? Let's, I guess we'll just draw it. Oh, I'm trying to be lazy. I'm sorry. All right, so another circle. This one was a 3. Get rid of that. Match properties. Click on the blue. Click on here. Okay, so our stove is done. Okay, so then I would bring some kind of text over, and I'd put the word stove over there. All right, and then I would basically just move this in. Then I would do a blue box around it, but try to undo the selection of that dotted line, which is going to be tough, so I'll show you how to get that in a second. Move this down by 1 inch. Try to grab the blue line by not clicking. Well, the blue line is actually the top line, so in this situation it shouldn't be that hard. Just a single click, but you want something like that. Okay, and I'll get rid of this one. Alright, so now we're going to go offset 1. Make sure we're still recording here. Beautiful. Alright. Match properties. Now, no matter what layer you're on here, when you do an offset, it's going to match the properties of the line that you're offsetting. So that's why that one went blue. But that's, you know, just the way the software works. Okay. So looking back at my plan, you'll see that my next cabinet was a 30-inch cabinet. So I'm going to go 30 from there. Okay. And then the next one after that was a 24-inch cabinet. And that's really basically because I have a doorway over here too, which I forgot to include on my other plan there. My doorway was about another 6 inches, which I like to leave 6 inches because there's 4 inches of trim around the door generally. So here, let's draw a door real quick. We'll go with, well, I'm gonna steal a door. This is an interior door. This is a 3'0" door. Although I don't want a 3 foot. Well, yeah, we could put a 3 foot there. You know what? We're not even going to put a door. We're going to put an opening of 3 feet. We're going to change that. So offset by 3 feet. That's just going to be a pass through. Get rid of the lines. Okay, so we end up something like that. So that's why mine ended up being a 30 and then a 24 at the end, because I wanted to end a little short of where my doorway was. Okay, so now I'm going to draw another line. I'm going to go from here to here, and this side is almost done. Okay, now over here, what I did was I wanted the sink to be in front of the window, and that's just another rule of thumb where you got some kind of window near your sink. That way, let's say you're washing dishes or something, you can look out the window and not only look at nature, but, you know, watch your kids playing or whatever, you know, you might want to see that's on the outside. Okay, a lot of homes will have a window that's above their kitchen. Okay, all right, so This is my dishwasher next, so that's going to be a 24-inch offset. That's just your standard size dishwasher. You could probably go bigger, but I would go on HomeDepot.com and see what you could get first. I wanted to do a 36-inch sink and cabinet, so the cabinet underneath it is 36 inches, and the sink drops into that cabinet. So we do an offset of 36. That makes it centered on where the window is. Okay, that's why it was 6 feet 10, because that's in the middle of this 3-foot cabinet. We'll draw a line. Actually, we'll take this line and bring that over. And then we have a 30-inch cabinet based on where I wanted to have my fridge. I didn't want to have my fridge here because then the doors would be opening up in this walkway. Okay, if you're opening up doors here, you can still pretty much sneak in there and not have an issue with where the refrigerator doors are. All right, so we go another 30 here. Sorry if I sound like I'm rushing, but I'm in the middle of my lunch period, so I only have probably another 20 minutes, so hopefully the video doesn't run that long. Okay, so you've got that. The other thing is that I put an island in the middle, okay? And another rule of thumb is that you leave at least 3 feet when it comes to how far it is from front of cabinet to front of cabinet, okay? And I did 24-inch cabinets all the way around. I did an overhang, and I did some stools, okay? This plan, if you want to go look at one of my 3D works, there's a nine-part series about making a kitchen design. This is actually the floor plan of that kitchen, so you can see where the two come together. So if you want, you could do this part and then jump into making the 3D model of it, which came out pretty cool. Now, we didn't do 3 feet here. We actually did 42 inches. I made it a little bit bigger. Anything bigger than that's a little extreme, but this is nice space for walking around. Okay, 42, 42, 48, because you got two 24-inch cabinets, 48, two 24-inch cabinets, fillet radius 0. All the way around. And then you're going to have a line this way and a line that way, okay? Now, the fridge, okay? Well, so the dishwasher, I don't really draw anything for, that picture. It would just be a blue box if you did draw anything, but you just slap some text in there and that should be fine. Let's talk about the fridge for a second. So the fridge I also made, and let me get those lines. And the fridge, I looked this up on HomeDepot.com as well. It was 36 inches by about 30 inches to the front of the doors, okay? So if you want, you could go like this with a box at 36, 30, and you get something like that. You could do your match properties. Now, the problem with using a rectangle is that I can't offset just that front line. Okay, see how it offsets everything. So what I'm going to want to do is explode this shape. Or initially, I would have just used lines or a polyline. Lines or a polyline would make it so you don't have to explode it, okay? And then what I did was I just offset about 2 inches in, showing that these are the doors in the front. I did a line down the midpoint to midpoint there. I did an offset 1 inch, 1 inch left, 1 inch right, just showing that there's space between the doors. And then the last thing I'll do is a match properties and get those to be the right color, and put my text in the middle of my fridge. Move my fridge from the left corner to here. Now, this could, if you want, also leave a 1 inch gap. That's up to you. Alright, we got something like that. We'll get rid of this. Generally, your stove and your fridge are not like perfectly touching where the end of the countertop is. Or where the cabinet is. They might touch where the countertop ends, and the countertop is going to be a 1 inch overhang. Okay, so we basically have the entire plan mapped out now. What we're going to do is we're going to start doing the overhangs. Okay, so if you notice, if I do make layer current, and I click on this red color now, which is my A floor casing one, but you can name yours like kitchen countertop or something like that. What I'm going to do is the same thing that I'm going to do right here. I'm going to go 1 inch out. 1 inch out, 1 inch out on all four sides. I'm going to do a fillet radius of 2 inches. Now again, I offset something that was this color, and that's why I got that color, but if I draw a line right now, it'll be that red. So match properties, grab the red, I did something like this. And the final corner. Okay, now I also did an overhang of about 12 inches on this side and this side. It should be between about 10 and 12 when you're trying to fit your legs underneath an overhanging counter like that. So I already have 1 inch, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this with a box. I'm going to deselect these because I don't want to stretch those, and then I'm going to do S enter and click and go down another 11 inches, something like that. So now it's 12 total. Okay, you can also do just one side at a time. So if I go like this and do stretch, I can go out 11 inches, and then I jump over here and do the same thing. I need to get those all 3 lines though. I need to get this one, and this one at the same time. So there's really no way to do that with a green box without accidentally getting the other 2 lines. So you hold shift and deselect those lines, and then we're going to do our stretch, and we go out 11 inches. So now we're good. The next thing I did, I drew a circle probably at this midpoint, and then I moved it. That circle was a 6 radius, which comes out to be 12 diameter. I moved that over, I think 12, and that put it right in the middle of that cabinet. I'll copy this one, 24. I'll take these 2, and let's see if we can mirror them across this line, there to there, that corner. Okay, and then it ends up being the same thing. Do you want to erase the source? No. Okay, and then you're going to trim the inside parts. So boom, the island's done. Okay, well, not done. We need text. So you're going to put some text in there, 24-inch cabinets, 48 by 48 island. It's pretty self-explanatory that there are some seats there, so you don't really need to do that. And then boom, we have text. Okay, so that part's done. So now we're going to do the same thing with the countertop around the outside here. So if you want, you could start with a... Yeah, see, that doesn't work in this software anymore. All right, so we'll have to do offset 1 on all these lines. And we'll do the same thing that we did before. Fillet radius 2. Okay, if we want, we can do match properties from the red. All right, we get something like that. This one is actually going to curve right there. Okay, and then you're going to trim this one off. And now, when you have a countertop that goes right over top of the edge of a cabinet, you're not going to see this line, the dotted line. You're going to see the red line. Okay, so match property is red, and we'll go like that. All right, so that part's done. We'll do some text. 30-inch cabinet, 24-inch cabinet. Copy paste for me, and I'll slide that in there somewhere. Okay, we got the stove set up. We're going to do the same exact thing over here. This is going to be offset 1. Alright, fillet radius 2. Make sure you trim this line off. Okay, and this is just going to run. Now you can run it into it like this. That probably does make more sense, or you could round it into here. That's totally up to you. That would just mean that the fridge is not touching the countertop. Okay, so I'll do one and the other. This one is running right into it. This one is stopping right before it, and it can't run into it anyways because the stove is not that deep. All right. So another match properties here. We're going to go with the red line. And I think that's it for the countertop. Okay. So now we have cabinets above. Okay. Oh, you know what? Let's do the sink first. So the sink, it just has to look like a sink on the plan. There's nothing special about it, you know, how it looks or anything like that. But what I did was I drew a box. Let's see what my dimensions were. It's a 36-inch cabinet, so I wanted to maximize that the best I could. So we've got 30 inches here. That leaves about 3 inches on each side. Okay, so it's 30 inches by 18 inches. Okay, so if you want, you could start with a rectangle at 30, 18. You get something like that. Fillet radius 2. Okay, now I want to say 2 here. Let's just measure that and make sure. Yep. So 2 around the sides and the back and in the middle, and then 4 on the front. So what I'll do is I'm actually going to copy this, and I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to take this and go 4. Oh, see what it does to the fillets. I don't like that. So let's do a stretch instead. We're going to draw a green line over that, and we're going to do S enter and stretch that this way by 4 inches. We'll do a stretch over this by 2 inches. We'll do a stretch like this, 2 inches. And then we should be able to put, oh, and we want to move this one in 2 inches. Something like that. Okay, so we get this. Alright. Then I put a line down the middle. I offset that by 1 both ways. Get rid of the middle line. Trim. And then more fillets. I want to say I did a different fillet on the inside. Let's see if I did 1. I think I did 1. Yeah. You don't have a really tight fillet in these sinks. So that was a fillet radius 1 all the way around the outsides of these. This is a double sink, obviously. And then what I did was I just put some circles. So I'm not going to draw those. You guys know how to draw circles. But one is going to be the faucet. The other 2 is going to be the handles. Alright, match properties. Blue. Blue. 36-inch sinking cabinet. Alright. Now, as far as where that goes, what I did here was, I want to say I left about 2 inches from the countertop to the sink. Alright, so you can just take a line here. And now I want to be in the middle of this, and this line is not the midpoint of that. So I'm going to slide up on this and draw across. And then I'm going to draw down, or actually I'm going to go down like this and draw 2 up. So that's my 2 line right there. So now when I bring this in, I'm going to move it from the midpoint of the bottom, and I'm going to put it at the edge of that line. That leaves a nice healthy bit of space behind, and it brings it pretty close to the front of the countertop. Okay? And that's it for that. Alright, we've got a 30-inch cabinet. And now we got to talk about upper cabinets. Okay, so upper cabinets are the exact same thing. They're going to match. So the cabinet above this is going to be a 24-inch cabinet. The one above that is 30. It's just understood that they're going to be the same thing. Okay, except for the corner one. The corner one's a little different because it has a chamfer on it. All right. So what you'll do is you'll start with a line at this midpoint. Whoops. And you'll draw this down. And you'll do the same thing here, midpoint, and draw that down. And you're going to do a chamfer, distance 12, and 12. That's distance 1 and distance 2. The way that works is it goes off the corner. It measures 12 inches before it makes the angle. And it'll go off of this corner and go 12, and then go off of an angle of that corner. So 1, 2. My layer for that is called A wall above. So I'll do a match properties off of that one. Now, I think I did make a mistake on my other one here, which I didn't catch until right now. You don't have upper cabinets going through your sink. So I'm going to trim from here to here. There's no cabinet above your sink. It's going to stay like that. All right. And this is pretty much done. You know, we put some text in here that just says, hey, there's some cabinets, you know, above. They're whatever size, whatever depth. And I think that's it. All right. So like I said, if you want, you can check out that series. It came out something like this, and this is that kitchen that I just designed right in front of you. All right. I hope that makes sense. I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and if you did, give me a little thumbs up action. If not, tell me what you didn't like, and if you're looking for something else, tell me what you would like me to make, or if you're you know, totally unrelated to this, or if you are stuck somewhere, let me know where you're stuck, and I'd love to help you. All right. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Catch 'em all.